Follow last segment is a special Arttista feature that makes all selected points and objects in the scene follow the animation of the last two selected points in the scene. Observe the movement of this line throughout the entire timeline. Now we will select all the points that make up the Santa Claus character, and finally select this point first, and then this point. Then we will press Ctrl F5 or right-click, go to the animation menu, and then click Follow Last Segment. Notice that Arttista draws several lines indicating a future relationship between the Santa Claus points and the last two selected points. Notice that now Santa Claus follows the movement of the line formed by the last two selected points. Now reset everything. Next, we will change the angle of the last 2 points, also changing the distance between them, sometimes smaller and sometimes larger. We then return to the initial frame. Select Santa Claus again, and finally select the 2 points of the line. We then apply the Follow Last Segment function. Notice that besides rotating together with the line, Santa Claus now also grows and shrinks along with it. Everything that happens to the line formed by the last 2 points, such as position, angle, and size, will also happen to poor Santa Claus. And this can be extremely useful depending on what we want in our animation. If we wanted Santa Claus to tilt without changing size, for example, we could use a bone instead of a line. Once the animation of this bone is ready, we select the entire Santa Claus character, then the 2 points of the bone, and apply the Follow Last Segment function. Now observe how Santa Claus follows the bone. Until now, Santa Claus was static before following the bone. But what happens if we animate his body before using the Follow Last Segment function? Let's shake this old man up. Here is our cheerful old fellow, all nicely animated. We return to the initial frame. Select Santa Claus, 2 bone points, and call the Follow Last Segment function. Notice that Santa Claus will follow the bone without losing his own animation. But what happens when we do not return to the initial frame and still use this function? Let's reset everything here and go back to this particular frame to apply the Follow Last Segment function. What happens? What happens is that the function will be applied only from that point onward. Notice in the timeline that Santa Claus keeps his body animation up to that frame, and from that point on he starts following the bone, taking into consideration that the bone is far away from him. Follow Last Segment is an extremely useful function and can be used in many different ways, from adding details later on to fixing animations. In the animated Short Sea Adventures, the submarine propeller was drawn and animated separately from the submarine itself. First, it was drawn, then it was animated spinning in place. Finally, the Follow Last Segment function was used to make the propeller follow the submarine. Even the character inside the submarine was added only at the very end, using the Follow Last Segment function. Take a look at the final result. The Follow Last Segment function can be used with an entire object following the last 2 selected points, like in this case where the square follows these 2 points of the circle. Or we can use it so that only a single point follows 2 other points of the circle, like in this example. Or even rotate the circle and make 2 other points of the square follow the new animation of those 2 points of the circle. The possibilities are endless. The only one who didn't like the Follow Last Segment function was Santa Claus. But even so, I still hope to get my Christmas present.